Wise are they who always tell the truth. Accept tonight my eternal enfolding love, light, wisdom, and power to hold you in its embrace until your full victory and ascension. I thank you. CORPORONS Long Beach Group. Beloved ones of California, it is my great joy to speak of CORPORONS Long Beach Group. Beloved ones of California, it is my great joy to speak a few words to you from my heart and to remind you that not so many years ago I visited your city with my father. Does it seem incredible to you that so much could have taken place in such a few years? Think, since this beloved brother came into our home in Wyoming, the heavens have opened and we have entered into our real home in its fullness. We thought our mother had passed on, like most people are supposed to do. Yet after this good brother's entrance in our home, we too discovered she had been free all those years. We sometimes thought that she was possibly in the tomb where her body was placed. Then beloved Saint Germain came to my father, explained all, and began the instruction which so quickly set him free from the human world and activity. Beloved ones, feel with me tonight, oh, how real, how very real is this mighty presence which beats your hearts. In your sincere, firm determination. 282. Holding your attention upon the presence, everything can and will dissolve and disappear from you and your world which has held you bound in any way. The presence is doing it now, oh, precious ones. It is doing it with great speed. We are so grateful that you have established a reading room in your city. It has been made a mighty focus of light. Give your full support to it. Beloved ones, in your call to your presence, never miss one day calling your presence into action to bless that reading room. Pour forth its all-expanding power and light, which the great ones have drawn there tonight. Let it be an ever-expanding activity to spread the radiance of the presence in and through your city, to touch hundreds of those whose light has expanded sufficiently for them to accept this understanding of the mighty I Am presence, and have the blessing which it brings. You will notice, beloved ones, that there is not a single part of this understanding which Saint Germain has brought forth that interferes with anything in the world. It is just the glorious acknowledgement of the source of your life, of all lives. It is all power acting in your world, taking command, holding its dominion, producing its perfection there, forever sustained, and in your power of qualification, beloved ones, assert this. Oh, that I might cause you to feel now the power which is within you to assert it. 284. This dominion of your presence. Feel it deeply, until no longer a single human thing touches your world to cause you to waver for an instant. You know, under the radiance of Saint Germain we entered so quickly into the glorious radiance of our presence, that we really had not time for anything else to come. It is really very wonderful. Even today, we continue to marvel at the speed with which our freedom came to us, after this blessed brother came into our home. He is in your home. Do you realize that? In your home, for your home is your world, and your world surrounds you. Do you realize that, dear ones? The greatest home in the world is the home that surrounds you, because that is the only home you can live in. You may live in buildings, but that is not always your home, even though you may own it from the human standpoint. Unless the glory and harmony in the understanding of your presence is there, is it home? Tell me. Is it home, unless there is the harmony of the presence within it? Therefore, I call your attention to this tonight to remind you that your home is your world which surrounds your human form, the only world in which you can ever live. If you will realize this and then, in the acknowledgement of your presence, fill your world with the blazing, dazzling light of the presence, then do you not see, if you are in a physical home, a building, the radiance from your presence will fill that home because it knows no obstruction or interference. If you will think of your home in that way, I am sure you will find enormous blessing and benefit. I think you might be interested in knowing something of what we have been doing since this good brother returned from Chananda's home in India. We spent 4.5 months in Chananda's home after his return. Then we returned to the retreat in Arabia where the greatest, most magnificent understanding of the use of the light rays is given forth. As all of us just naturally selected the use of the light rays for the work we were to do, we returned there to receive further instruction. You would possibly think that my imagination were running riot if I were to tell you the accomplishment from that time to this, in our ability to utilize, to direct, to wield those powers which come from the use of the light rays. We are still just lads yet, you know, and yet we are able to do things today, precious ones, that seem absolutely incredible to the human sense. I say this tonight to carry forth the radiance of the truth of our accomplishment into your mental and feeling world, that you may feel the power of our activity in your feeling world, because remember, your feeling world is your powerhouse. Unless you do get the full consciousness. 286 Ascended. Of a thing into your feeling, you are only having partial results, and that is the trouble with mankind today. Individuals still unknowingly keep trying to do a thing with the human intellect, which is not the knower, never was. Never will be. Because the heart is the true knower, and the full power of the presence is anchored in the heart. When the intellectual activity is backed up by the feeling of the truth from the heart and intensified by it, then the intellect can be a remarkable servant. This is why tonight I endeavor to charge into your feeling world the confidence, the conviction of your power to release from your presence, at your call and anchor within your feeling world, certain qualities which it is my privilege to pour forth. How? Through the very projection of these light rays which we have learned how to use. Beloved ones, if you once knew the power that exists within your feeling world through the activity of your attention, you would leave the floor in the magnificence of that sudden realization, because momentarily you would sever the pull of earth. One day in the retreat in Arabia when we were tremendously in earnest, in fact, we had become so intense upon the acquirement of what was before us and its use, that 4 times we suddenly found our feet at least 3 feet above the floor. We were standing there in the atmosphere, just as firm as we had stood a few moments before on the floor. This is how with intense attention to a specific thing, and to the extent that you have forgotten your form, does it cause the earth to lose all attraction for your body. Then you will notice the moment your attention comes back, you settle down again. This activity, through the attention, is what is going on in the feeling and outer activity of mankind right along. You are raising. In your recent class, for instance, you were raised to a tremendous height. Again through your power of attention, in most instances as soon as you come back and touch the outer world's activity, you begin to accept its limitations, and unknowingly these act in the feeling body, the old habits to which you have been accustomed. Here is a point we have found to be of great assistance to ourselves. Say, mighty I am presence, take eternal command of my power of qualification. Do not let the old concepts or habit any longer have power in my world. If you will do that, you will find it very helpful. As we went on and on, we found there are those in the world, I am sorry to say, who have wholly destructive desires. We must counteract those desires among mankind. There was only within the last 3 months, one serving the destructive forces who conceived an idea of a partial use of the ray, one of the rays, that was very destructive. Of course the Ascended. 288 Ascended Master. Masters are watching over the world and they know immediately when anything of that kind is attempted. It had to be forestalled. It was my joy, privilege, and service to act in that capacity. Today, beloved ones, you are coming into an activity which has for long periods existed on Venus. Notice. We are children yet, so to speak, and hope we always shall be, but think of it, Bob, Pearl, Nada, and I are no older than these beloved children here. Yet we have used today of these great powers. In this service which I was able to render is a joy that is boundless, for it makes me realize that in the service which I am later to render in the outer world, it will continue to intensify its activity until one day when I come into the outer world and meet many of you, that same power. That same activity will be there. This is why a few moments ago I said to you, if you knew the power which you have for use in your feeling world by the power of your attention, precious ones, you would set yourselves free almost in one mighty sweep. This is why the beloved messengers have recently called your attention to the necessity of saying so powerfully, so firmly, to all appearances, you have no power. Remember, precious ones, nothing in the world has any power except what you give it, so far as you are concerned or your world is concerned. Therefore anything that harms or limits you, to it. You gave your life which enables it to act, to come back and do that to you. Please get this firmly in your consciousness tonight. If you will do as I request, you will find a sense of freedom never experienced before. There is no one in the world who would not absolutely set his foot down on such limitations, in firm determination, if he really understood that it is his own life going into a thing which comes back and harms him. Otherwise it could not act. No discord or limitation could reach into anyone's world except through his own life. I am sure you will get this into your consciousness tonight as never before. When you see an appearance out here of limitation, if that comes back to you as a limitation, then your life is feeding it to limit or bring disturbance to you. Then you will say, now then, we are getting down to reality. If that be the case, I shall no longer feed my life into anything to come back and harm me. This is just what all humanity has been doing. Individuals have blamed everything else but themselves for the conditions. The truth is, they were feeding their own life into the things which were actually limiting them and causing disturbance. Without the stream of their life it could not touch their world. Do you not see that? Tonight, beloved ones, I shall anchor the understanding of this within your consciousness. It will stand. 290 Ascended Master. They're active, for constant use. It will always remind you of its activity when you suddenly begin to accept that something has power to harm or limit you in the outer world. You will stop right there and say, oh, no you don't. You did once, but you are not going to do it anymore. You are not going to use my life to harm me. Mighty I Am Presence, take command. Cut this off and see that I no longer accept these appearances as having any power. Do you not feel that as I am speaking it, it does enter into your feeling world now to act there with full power? No longer shall any appearance have any power from my life unless it expresses perfection. Knowing that only from the presence can come perfection, then my attention shall go to my presence, and through my attention, there shall release from my presence everything I require in my outer world of activity. Knowing that my presence is my intelligence, my love, my light, my power to act, then to my presence alone will I give all power, and not to human appearances. I am reminded that every time I give my attention to a limiting appearance or destructive activity, my life is feeding it, and I certainly do not do so anymore. Do you realize, beloved ones, that this very consciousness will forever make you alert? It will keep you prompted any time you start to give your attention to old habits and limiting or disturbing things. You will be prompted instantly, no sir, you do not do it. You will be surprised to find how alert you become. Now mark you, this alertness is the selective intelligence from your higher mental body. Precious ones, notice this. Your higher mental body is still limited, so far as you are concerned, unless you give it the full power to act. Now then, by your refusing to give power any longer to appearances which are harmful or disturbing, it is just as if your wall of light says, no. So far and no farther. Then your wall of light is held firm to refuse acceptance to those appearances. Your wall of light stands there unyielding and impenetrable. When you call to your presence, there is nothing which rushes in to disturb the outflow of your mighty I Am Presence, to perform its mighty service. Believe me, beloved ones, do not give any consideration to who you have been, or anything about it. If you begin to wonder who you were and accept that you were this, that, or the other thing in some other embodiment, you are dividing your attention. Instead, give your attention to the presence to fill your mind, body, and world with the perfection which the presence holds. It is the same thing, dear ones, as when you keep giving your attention to appearances that are of the outer world's activity. 292 You begin to go back into the activity of the lives in which you have lived, with which you are not concerned today. It is not what you have been, but what you are today that counts. So watch out that you do not fall into this habit of thought and feeling, for it limits you and takes the energy which you need to make the call to the presence, and to enable it to flow out into your world, to produce your perfect activity, and to give you power to achieve freedom here and now. Saint Germain is the most marvelous being in the world, and his practical application of the law in the manner in which he gives assistance to the students is a most unparalleled thing. He will not allow his students to give their attention to what they have been before, if they want to be free. Just as long as you keep feeding your life, through the attention, into that which you have been, you cannot be what you desire today. See that? Today is the important thing. What you have been is past and gone. only to the extent that you call on the law of forgiveness for mistakes made, and use the violet consuming flame to set you free from your human creations brought forth thus far, are you actually accomplishing the things required? However, you will not do this if you keep feeding your life, through your attention, back into what you have been before. Your former life has not a thing to do with what you are today. I would not give a snap of my finger whether I was a prince, a king, a sheep herder, or what I was in the past, because when you come to the point of the acknowledgement of your presence, then you have entered into your eternal stream of freedom. There is nothing that can interfere with your victory so long as you refuse to give your life to discordant appearances, through your attention. There have been any number of people who have, because of the unusualness of it, begun to look back, and thus enter into the vibratory action of embodiments in which they have lived in the past, and their entire attention was taken off the glory of their victory. Now that is why, dear ones, tonight I call your attention to this, because there are some of the students who unknowingly are dropping into such habits. I plead with you, do not do it. Give your whole attention, your whole life to the presence, that it may again return its energy to you, intensified with the feeling of its perfection and purifying activity. As you do that, beloved ones, you will find such glory filling your mind and body. On this particular point, do you know Saint Germain is adamant? He says, do not dare give your attention to any of us before you give it to your presence. This correct attitude is a most wonderful thing, because after all, your presence is you. 294. It is all-powerful. Even we bow to the majesty of the presence of you who have not yet ascended, because your presence knows exactly what you require, I mean through your higher mental body. The presence of an unascended being is not cognizant of the requirements down here, but that one's higher mental body is. It knows your requirements and needs, therefore answers full and completely if your attention is not divided. Will you not accept this tonight, precious hearts, with the fullest cooperative power, and call your higher mental body into action to seize and hold your attention on perfection? Call to your presence to use its mighty discriminating intelligence to stand guard over you. Every time you start to feed your life into some appearance out here, it will prompt you like that. Then if you say, oh no, no more of that, you will be surprised how quickly you can reverse those activities and bring your attention back to the presence, to prevent your life going out into a scattering activity and acceptance of appearances that come before you. You have no idea how powerful this is. I tell you, precious ones, if you were to see the energy that you feed into appearances in 12 hours of the waking state, you could scarcely believe it. Now just think what it means when you become imbued with anger, intense criticism, or some intense feeling, which releases a volume of energy in one sweep. Do you not see, dear ones, how you are just throwing your life away and scattering it broadcast to do no good for yourself or anyone else? If you allow your feeling to catapult anger, criticism, condemnation, or impurity of thought, do you not see how you intensify the same activity in someone else of mankind and make it hard for that one to gain his victory? You are absolutely wasting, completely wasting your own life energy through such feelings, scattering it broadcast without soil to grow in, except when it strikes qualities of a discordant kind. Then you are making it hard for someone else in that one's endeavor to attain the victory. Now you see your responsibility to your fellow man, to your assistants, those you love. When you do such things, you are depriving yourselves constantly of the life energy which you require for your accomplishment or upon whatever your attention may be fixed. Dear hearts, I am grateful, very grateful for your alertness tonight and that which you are anchoring within your world for constant use, through your feeling. I know positively that you are going forth from this room tonight filled with a consciousness of your victory which you have never had yet. Now do not misunderstand me. I do not consider that is due to me, but to your acceptance of the quality of the truth. 296 Ascended Master Discourses. Which is spoken. Watch out. Stand guard. Be alert, you precious ones, and do not allow any more of your energy to go forth to feed destructive things, through the power of your attention. Hold your energy, turn it back to the presence, and say, Mighty I am presence, flood me and my world with the glory of your perfection. Sustain it with your directing intelligence, with your power of achievement. As you call its power into action, you will feel a glory, not a temporary thing, but an intensified, constantly increasing activity, called forth into action in your world, which will glorify you with a happiness and strength that you were not aware was there. Notice. Your presence is the power acting. Whatever the condition is in your physical body or appearance has nothing to do really with the ability of your presence. Your call is everything. Your refusing to accept appearances which would be limiting is your power of assistance to the presence, for that is all it requires to release the fullness of its power and action to produce perfection in you and your world. So tonight, in the glory of the freedom which is yours, in the acknowledgement of your presence, which is the governor of the universe, will you not keep yourselves reminded of these simple truths which are so majestic in action? Allow them to come forth in your world and produce perfection for you by no longer feeding your life into any discordant thing, any limiting thing. Old habit, dear ones, is a thing that has to be conquered. You can quickly reverse all those habits which have taken your energy, if you will. Remember, when you call your presence into action to reverse these activities, the presence will do it, but you must do your part in refusing to give your attention and life, through your attention, into these things. Do you not see how absolutely logical and practical it is? It gives you such freedom in your feeling world. Bob, Pearl, and Nada are present with me, and are pouring out their great love upon you. They have been, all the time I have been talking. You know, I am very happy to say that my sister, Nada, has taken on many of the qualities of the beloved Lady Master Nada, whose picture is in the magazine. She made her ascension some 2,700 years ago. In our association with them, it is amazing how quickly one takes on those qualities. As you learn to hold yourself free from discordant appearances, then they can more quickly pour into your world that which makes you like them. There is one more point I want to leave with you tonight, beloved ones, in your attention to the Ascended Masters, who have gone every step of the way. 298 That you must go, and your attention has been given so marvelously, they can fill you in your world with the quality which they are. In this way my sister, Nada, has taken on from the Lady Master Nada, the qualities which she has caused to become so powerful in her world. First, give your acknowledgement to the presence. Then if you need courage and strength that you do not seem quite able to call forth, turn your attention to Saint Germain, Jesus, Nada, the Divine Director, or some of the other Ascended Ones, Chara, Chananda, or some of those blessed ones. They will come back to you, because their attention is again upon the consciousness of that which accomplishes perfection. Therefore, it must flow into your world to do for you whatever you require. Do you not see how perfectly practical all of that is? There is not anything impractical about any of it. We try repeatedly to bring to your attention certain things and show you definitely how you can right now begin to govern your world. Refuse to give attention to appearances which have disturbed you, and give all your attention to your presence. Now do you not see how that which is known as doubt and fear could not affect you or your world unless you feed your energy into it? That is your qualification. Your life goes out and becomes charged with fear to come back and disturb you, or it goes out and is charged with doubt, which comes back and causes you to doubt. Do you not see how, right now, you are master of your world and the governing activity which controls those qualities, and prevents them any longer entering into your life or world? It is the most practical thing anyone could conceive, and it is within the use of any person who will apply it, but you must be alert. You cannot, dear ones, just let your feelings run riot. You must call the presence into action and refuse any longer to give attention to things out here. Wherever your life flows, it not only gives action, but must bring back its effect upon you sooner or later. Tonight, in the fullest power of the Ascended Host, I ask them to anchor within your feeling world the full power of every word that has been spoken here, to make this practical, to give you the full consciousness of your ability to control, through the power of your attention, all of these activities which have taken your life energy or given it a power to disturb or limit you. That no longer has any power, mighty I Am Presence. I issue that decree for these beloved ones tonight. Stand guard over their attention. Hold their attention in control, conscious control, that they no longer feed their life into any limiting, discordant, destructive activity to come back and touch their world. Stand guard, mighty I am. 300. Presence, over the attention of each one and hold it upon thee. See that it is always held upon thee and thy perfection. Supply their worlds with everything that they require, and in abundance. The presence is not limited, and in the light which beats your heart, which is self-luminous, intelligent substance, is all that you require. Today you have entered into the activity of the mighty cosmic light, or rather yesterday, and you have assistance heretofore unknown. Will you not accept it? In this humble, simple explanation I have given tonight, will you not remember it and remind yourselves often that your attention must be to your presence? Every time it tries to go to something outside, say, stop. I will have no more of that. You obey the law of your presence, put your attention there. Then my world will have the power, the perfection which my presence is. I refuse any longer to give my attention to anything else. Therefore, there is nothing can longer enter into my world but that perfection which is the presence. Out of the eternal light and thy glory, O mighty I am presence, we accept tonight the fullness of thy active presence, thy eternal guard about each one, that their attention may be held firmly upon thee with absolute refusal to let it act anywhere else. Therefore, it releases over all of them a constant stream of thy almighty energy, bringing perfection, happiness, health, and everything good into the world of each one, forever sustained. I thank you.